Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Strategic Command World War II, World at War. It is October of 1946, we're about to move into November of 1946, and the war is going well for the Axis powers. France, Russia, the Low Countries, Denmark, Norway, all have fallen to the Germans. India, China have fallen to the Japanese, as well as the Dutch East Indies, and the Japanese are in the process of invading Australia, while the Germans have just taken the second capital of the British Empire, the first being London and the second being Manchester. Additionally, a British infantry corps here is cut off in the center of England with little hope for relief, and two British corps are cut off here to the west of Manchester with no hope for relief or supplies, as well as the American headquarters unit providing supply to the American units in England. I'm assuming this is their only headquarters unit, although I could be wrong. So, long story short, the war is looking bleak for the Allies. It is late in the game. We have 7 turns remaining. Whether we will take Australia or not is yet to be determined, but things are looking pretty good in England. England's national morale is below 15%, so it's possible the fall of Manchester, which hasn't yet hit their morale, could cause them to surrender, but if it doesn't, then we will drive in Edinburgh, which I believe is their final capital prior to surrender. I don't know if they withdraw to Canada as sort of a government in exile or not. I'm not 100% sure of that, but my assumption is if they lose 2 more capitals, it wouldn't matter because their morale would be so shot that they would throw in the towel. Interestingly enough, the British still have over 30 land units, but they're down below 10 air units. The American air units are also down below 15, although the American Navy is still standing strong at 27, the largest navy in the game despite numerous disasters facing the Japanese fleet in the Pacific. Meanwhile, that's all we have to say here. We've already gone through our turn, so let's go ahead and jump into November and see what happens here. 3rd Panzer in the deserts of Africa suffering attrition. Japanese infantry in the heartland of Australia suffering attrition. The British are moving the government to Edinburgh. Apparently there's no national morale penalty for losing their second capital. We didn't see a event notice that says, the British morale is hurt by losing Manchester or anything like that. Sinking more merchants, hindering the supply of the Australian forces in Australia. Making sure that the Allies have basically no supply for their forces in Brisbane, so we can rapidly reduce Brisbane up north, and then we can transfer those forces south for the reduction of the Australian capital. We still have enough time for that, I think. We have about 6 turns left, I think. 6 or 7 turns left, including this one that we're about to come up upon. So I think we have a chance, but I could be wrong. Meanwhile, the Americans, I don't know if those were new troops coming in that had 1 hit point or if they were troops going out that had 1 hit point. But the one thing that we are going to struggle to deal with as we try and drive north here in England is Edinburgh is in some more difficult terrain, so it may be difficult to bring some of our heavier forces, which are our most efficient forces, against them. Meanwhile, the Canadian Navy running strong. The Royal Navy still has a reasonable force. You can see here they've got some submarines that are going after our motor torpedo boats, which are along their supply lines. American tactical bombers exist here, apparently in a plenty here in southern Australia, flying out from Melbourne. American infantry attacking away from Canberra. British infantry corps trying to counterattack at Manchester and failing. British infantry corps here to the west of Birmingham also attacking and failing. I'm assuming they have no supply there. Could be wrong, but I don't think they have any supply at to the west of Manchester there. Meanwhile, Australia is a really interesting situation with a lot of units kind of located all over, kind of scatterbrained as well. You can see an American counterattack there against somewhat of our exposed flank in the center of our Sydney position. All we have there is a headquarters unit. We didn't lose too badly. We only lost 1 hit point, but if we lose the headquarters unit there, we're going to lose the whole invasion, that whole pocket there, because that's our entire basis of supply, other than if we had 1 unit in Sydney itself, it would pull a little from the port, but that's about it. We're really hoping here that as we move into the winter months in the northern hemisphere, that the southern hemisphere's summer kicks in and that the rain stops in Australia so that we can try and bring our air power to bear against the Allies there. The one thing is supply is really a big challenge in sort of the wilderness of Australia And we've kind of tried to bypass a lot of the coastal cities, at least initially. We're trying to reduce them now, but supply is just, it's going to be a challenge. British 7th Corps, which is surrounded, is suffering attrition damage. 21st U.S. Army, also to the west of Port something on the southern coast of Australia, suffering attrition damage. Continuing to basically ensure the Allied units have basically no supply at Brisbane and Canberra by essentially blockading those ports. And we're moving into our turn here, so we'll see what we've got left. It looks like we have 7 turns remaining. Garrison at Cape Town. A new Argentine destroyer is ready, so we'll go ahead and deploy that. And then Germany has some new rockets ready as well. Not anything that can reach anyone or do anything, but they're there. All right, so meanwhile, before we forget about it, let's go up to Norway. We're going to move this headquarter unit west. These infantry units are going to move toward the front, and the troops near Narvik are going to continue attacking. Looks like they are slowly reducing that British force near Narvik, so it would be nice to take it out. Okay, there's a British escort carrier here at the port of Glasgow. Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Ugh, that was heavy losses there for that unit. Try and pull it out a little bit. Just trying to destroy this air unit. It's not super powerful. It only has an air wing of 3. So it's probably not worth the casualties I'm taking to try and interdict it. But there you have it. Okay. Reinforce these subs back up to full strength before we send them out on the channel and the convoy routes. Okay. Alright, so now for the drive north. Let's see, we've got this artillery here. These guys have very little supply, but they are entrenched, at least the troops here are, so they've got 3 entrenchments. We've got 2 shells of ammo in our artillery, so we'll hit them twice. Should reduce their entrenchment down to 1. Oh, actually gets rid of it altogether. That's nice. So we'll go ahead and launch some attacks against these guys. Okay. Move this infantry up. Destroy them. Attack them. Yeah, I don't know how best to deal with these guys. Ooh, this American headquarters unit has no supply, so we'll destroy him. Why is there an American strategic bomber in there? That's just dumb. Okay. Alright, let's destroy this guy over here with those guys, those infantry. These guys are going to destroy those guys, and they're going to do this with those guys. Yeah. Alright, so meanwhile, this British infantry corps here, just to the north of Manchester, gets itself killed. Victory there. This American infantry corps here, to the north of Sheffield, gets obliterated as well. We'll move our heavy tanks north. I should have gone after the cavalry. Alright, so we'll go after these guys with our tactical bombers to finish them off. Should destroy them. It does. Very nice. And just like that, the city in Newcastle is ours. We'll move these tigers forward here. Okay, can we bomb them? Attack air. We can. We're going to run into some enemy interceptors. British appear to have some meteor fighters up here. Well, some pretty heavy casualties, actually, but we did destroy that enemy cavalry unit. So that's good. Okay. Alright, so Newcastle has fallen. We've destroyed multiple enemy units up here in the north. Doesn't look like I can move anyone any further. Alright, so move him here. Move this infantry and artillery north. Okay, our Panthers over here can attack once. Alright, let's go for these fighters. We'll hit them on the ground. Meanwhile, our fighter escorts are doing quite a bit of damage there to the allied fighters that are on the ground. See if we can knock out these enemy air units here. 3 more, so they've lost 8 casualties with that fighter unit up there. We haven't quite destroyed the enemy. Can't reach. Have these guys attacked? Yeah. Alright, so these fighters will go ahead and attack and destroy these meteors. Okay. Alright. Let's see if our fighters can finish off the British infantry here. I don't think we're going to have a strong enough attack, but we can try. We have at least destroyed all the enemy escorts around. Nothing doing there. Oh, what the fuck? Why did I do that? I clicked on the wrong hex. Doesn't look like it. These guys can't hit anything from here, so we'll go ahead and reinforce them. Okay. Reinforce all these units here. Fly those units across the channel. Upgrade these medium bombers with level 3 ground attack and long-range aircraft. That'll help. These guys have already been upgraded. We'll fly them into England so we can use them next turn. And there you have it. Alright, so moving our troops forward here, attempting to take advantage of our success. Some of our troops just can't get there. The front line is really narrow, so our ability to fully exploit some of our successes is somewhat mitigated. Or not mitigated, but limited. Move these guys down here, move this guy up here. Alright, so I think that does it for most of our units here. Fly a few of our air units a little bit closer. Okay. Why can't we move these rocket weapons to England at all? That's weird. Alright, meanwhile, we've got these long-range transports up here, so I think we're going to go ahead and... Oh, shit. There's an enemy escort carrier up there. So maybe instead we land at Aberdeen? Whoa! Well, there's a lot of enemy troops here. So we drove back those American bombers. Do we want to try... See, I think they're just going to get caught at sea and destroyed. Can they land? Yes, okay. So these guys just successfully landed here behind enemy lines. No supply to speak of, but they did get behind the enemy, so maybe that brings us to within a hex of Edinburgh, because now we just cut the rail line between Newcastle and Edinburgh to the north, got in behind these American paratroopers. That's probably the wiser thing. They're probably going to go to try and kill these pioneers up there in the north, but we'll have to see how that plays out. I think that was a successful landing. I'm pretty happy with that result. I think that's about all we've got for the Germans here. Doesn't look like I can really pull my tanks out over there. These guys, come on. They finally got, like, a shore. Why can't they march? I guess that's a rail line. Maybe they can go long way around Dongola. Go back to Khartoum. Alright, can we go after these guys at Berba? Yes! Alright, so we just took British Eastern Somaliland. This is this is Allied land? I don't agree with that. Alright, let's reinforce these tanks. Can we reinforce them? No. So we're going to move them south here. They're going to try and make a play for Salisbury, capital of Rhodesia, way to the south here. I don't think I have any other realistic route. These guys can't go anywhere because they have no supply. Alright, well, that is that. Meanwhile, made contact with the enemy at Riyadh. And we took the capital of the Saudi Arabian government here. Turkey getting into the act here, invading Saudi Arabia, which should fall to us pretty quickly. Meanwhile, if we go back around here, we've got these units that are sailing in. All right, so the weather has cleared. Very nice. We have a little bit of supply here. So we destroyed that American unit. All right, there's some troops in Adelaide. Move these head... Can we rail these guys? No, we can't. It's weird that you can't operate in... enemy territory, at least that's what it seems like. Okay. These guys have no supply. These guys only have one. It's okay. They don't need a ton of supply for what I need them to do. Okay. Alright, so we've destroyed the American unit near Brisbane. Meanwhile, our armored unit's going to swing, I think, around these American units over here that are attacking our headquarters unit. They almost destroy them, and then our dive bombers will come in. They've got some escorts that should help, although the Americans do have jet fighters down here, so that does give them the advantage. But we did succeed in destroying that American unit. So the troops in Brisbane have basically no supply thanks to our fleet here. The mechanized force of ours can start softening them up a little bit. Does that reduce their fortifications, naval bombardments? Doesn't look like it does from cruisers. What about battleships? No. Interesting. That's weird. All right, so Brisbane might fall next turn. We'll see. All right, a bunch of interceptors. We'll see if our guys get obliterated. They didn't get quite obliterated. They did do some damage to the enemy. Meanwhile, the 2nd CMF Corps, which is, I think, Australian militia, is taking some, or is not entrenched at all at Adelaide. So maybe we can take that and then move toward Melbourne. We'll have to see. All right, we're going to fall back on Normanton. Can we operate these guys? No, we can't. At least get those fighters down to the south. Or realistically, they're more valuable here. Move some of these troops to the east to help stem the tide there. Meanwhile, these troops are going to move into Sydney. Or at least we're going to try and move them into Sydney. There we go. These infantry in. So we got another army here just in southern Australia. These guys are dug in at level 3. Do strategic bombers influence that? Looks like they've only got the one American fighter. Doesn't look like it does. It does hurt their morale at least. Okay. Reinforce him. Alright, so we're closing in on Australia as well. We should have sufficient time to finish them off. Meanwhile, we landed at Towns, or just near Townsville. Be great if we could sweep in there and take Carnus. Part of my problem at this stage is I'm kind of trying to do too much at once. Landing troops in the rear here, landing troops over here. If I'd landed them in the same place, probably could have taken the turn and taken these American units in the rear. We'll see how that works. But these guys don't really have much supply anyway. And now we've landed here near Townsville, so these guys near Rockhampton are cut off, or north of Rockhampton are cut off. So these guys are in a pocket. They do have a port to bring them supply. Is there anything else? We've got another amphibious force here, the first SNLF force. Alright, so they destroy that garrison unit there. Okay, do I have anybody else coming down? I don't think so. That's about it. So we destroyed the garrison unit at Cairns. That's how you pronounce it. What do these battleships do here? Can they destroy this supply? They can. So we can move these not new, but these battleships we just brought in can destroy this supply, which should limit the American unit's supply even further. So we should be able to pocket and destroy those two American units in the north. Air units here near Townsville shouldn't have much supply in the first place. Surprised you can't bomb ports. Oh, I guess they're getting rained on, that's why. Okay. What about on the south? The weather is good, so let's move our carriers out this way. And really pound some of these guys. The question is, where's there the most value in pounding these guys? If we set mode to mix, I don't want naval. I would like tactical. Well, that didn't accomplish anything. Can't change it now. Okay. Why can't these guys attack? Why can't they bomb? I don't know. Alright. The only other real question is, where's the rest of the American fleet? Like, I don't want to completely vacate the home islands should the Americans show up again with another task force. On the other hand, I don't want to just, like, have a huge portion of my fleet sit back in the home islands and accomplish nothing because they're just waiting to see if the Americans do show up. So we'll send those two units south. And I think that'll do it. Okay, we do still have the troops in Argentina. So these guys will take the capital of Paraguay. I'm going to try and see if I can go to war. Well, actually, I already am at war with these. No, these guys are neutral. Ecuador is neutral. But we're going to see if we can maybe move these guys up here near Gualica, and then we'll go to war with Ecuador. Maybe we can take another one of those countries out. Okay. So I think that's it. I think that's it for this turn. We already did Norway. We did Argentina. We landed our troops in the north of England. Took Newcastle. We're now very close to Edinburgh. If we take it national morale for the British, they're down below to 10%. The Americans themselves are plummeting too, down to 25%. If we go to strength, the British are down to 25 units. The Americans are at 51. 108 German units. 74 Japanese. American Navy's at 33. So they just got 6 new ships. Jeez. Man, that's crazy. All right. Well, we'll see what happens next time around. Maybe the 85th episode will be our last. I doubt it, but perhaps if we can take both the capital of Australia and the capital of England, the war may end. But we will find that out next time. Until next time, guys, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you once again for watching. Hope you're enjoying this long-standing series as we wrap it up. And until next time, I'm out.